is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Kemple with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. I have a very dynamic guest. She's joining us from New York. She owns P.O.W.E.R, Professional Organization of Women of Excellence. She's an author. She is a host herself. She's a columnist. She does it all. Please welcome Tonia DeCosimo. Tonia, thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited for this conversation.
How are you? Thanks for having me.
I am great. I'm even better now that I've met you and we've connected. Can you please introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit about your background?
Sure. So my name is Tonia DeCosimo. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm sure you could tell from the accent. And I've been in the publishing advertising business for, it was just 30 years. So I'm like, oh my God, am I that old? But yes, it's 30 years. And I started my own business 15 years ago. And I work with women professionals, celebrities, icons, everyday hardworking women all over the nation and some international as well. And I love what I do. I learn from women every day. I get to see them receive the exposure that they deserve. I help them with networking and recognition, and we feature them in my magazine as well as my organization. And it's just a blessing to be able to help people and learn from so many amazing women.
And I love that. And I think that even though we are in 2021 and we've seen more women step into that leadership role in the workplace and being more of the breadwinner for their household, there's still a double standard, and especially out in the corporate world. But I know a lot of women that are entrepreneurs that are total boss babes, and like I was telling you before we started recording. And I'm an entrepreneur myself, and I had a leadership role I'm a former vice president of a large automotive manufacturing company. And when I stepped into that business, I was part owner in. And when I stepped back into the corporate world, it was very interesting to see how women are still treated so differently, even though it's 2021.
Yeah. And you know what? It'll probably always be that way. So hope not, but chances are it will.
Well, that's why it's so important about what you do in helping empower women that you work with across the country. So can you tell us like what that looks like for, let's say I'm making a list of women I want to introduce you to. as, we're,
Hey, we're networking.
as we're talking. Yeah. And actually I have some networking groups that I'm going to connect you with as well that I think you would be great, and they would probably feature you as a guest speaker. But how do you, like, when you connect with someone, how do you help empower a woman that you connect with that might be needing that little extra push?
So first of all, let me just go back a little bit. So P.O.W.E.R stands for Professional Organization of Women of Excellence Recognized. So this is kind of like joining a country club. You join a country club, you want to associate with a certain caliber of people, and it's the same thing here. This is an organization for women to come, network with one another. We have a concierge service. We help them network as well if they don't want to do it themselves,
Sure.
Which I think is really important because everybody's so busy. So we have a concierge service that does that for them. We feature them in our P.O.W.E.R magazine as well. So they're really getting dual exposure online as well as in the magazine. Our members get a user ID and password, so they're able to log in and again, network with the other members. We do press release distributions for them. We even put some of our members up in Times Square. So it's a whole host of services. So let's say we have a member who, just wants to network with other members in New York.
Sure.
We will connect them with those members in New York. The thing is, again, now I'm going to say it's like joining a health club. If you join something, you have to go. You have to see the value, to see the benefit.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is for people to join something and then not get what they want out of it because they're not becoming proactive. Right. So I always say, if you're going to join the organization, you need to become proactive. We also have a mentor-mentee program. We know how important today having a mentor is, somebody who, may be more knowledgeable in a field than you are and help you reach your goals. So we do that as well. And with the magazine, usually we have a celebrity or an icon on the cover. And then in the magazine are celebrities and everyday hardworking women. And somebody said, why do you have a celebrity on the cover? Because I want the everyday hardworking women to know you can become that if you want. Here's somebody on our cover who has strived to be famous or just be out there and is very knowledgeable in what they do. And we can all get that if we really want.
Totally agree. I love that. And so how does that work with your organization? You said it's like a membership. So like
Yeah.
let's say I'm interested. Like I want to be a part of this organization, which I think it's important. The more you're only going to grow as much as like whatever limits you put in front of you. So the more opportunities and resources you have to grow, get your name out there, I think it's very important. So how does that work for, let's say, someone like me that was interested in being a part
So
of your
usually it happens in a couple of different ways. You either fill out an application, you go to P.O.W.E.R, which is power, and then W-O-E, like womenofexcellence.com, and you press join us now. There's no charge for a basic entry, which a lot of organizations don't do. But I always say for the meat and potatoes, for the full service, obviously we charge.
Sure.
And, that's why we're all in business. I can't produce a magazine and do all this without charging. So we do have different membership levels depending on, that specific person's needs and wants. Maybe somebody just wants a page in the magazine. Maybe somebody just wants a half a page plus the networking capabilities. So we go through that with the members, one-on-one to see what their needs are.
That's awesome. And so do you have any success story? And well, wait, actually, what made you start Power? So what is what brought you to think, you know what? I need to roll this out for women all over.
Well, the truth is I built several businesses for men. It just happened to be that they were all men. And the last company I worked at, he wanted to cut my salary because he felt as a woman I was making too much money.
Of course.
And the funny thing is, I worked strictly on commission. So it wasn't even like a base pay. What I put into it is what I got out of it. So here you are, I built your company, I made you a multimillionaire, and now you want to cut the person who helped you get there, and you couldn't have done it without me. So at that point, I felt like, you know what, I can't be treated like this. I have to go out on my own. I was told, oh, you can't do it without, a man by your side. And I just said, I'm not the only one that's hearing this. There's a lot of other women going through this. And I said, I have to do something for women. I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to help them get the recognition they deserve. And, just do the best that I can in being there for others. So that's the truth.
I love that. I think that's great. And it's necessary.
Yeah.
So before all the craziness happened last year, do you do any like in-person events or?
Yes. Yeah. So we do have a couple of networking events during the year. We're having our awards gala October 14th, and we had one a year and a half ago. We obviously didn't want to have one last year because of COVID, but we're back up and running. So October 14th, it's going to be at the Mansion at Oyster Bay on Long Island. We are honoring.
That's a beautiful place.
Yes, come on down. So it's like a wedding. It's beautiful. It's a red carpet event. We're honoring 13 women, and it's just going to be a great evening. We're also, what we do is we combine with a charity. Okay. So we have a silent auction. October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So our charity this year is the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation. And a lot of people, when they hear breast cancer, they don't understand that there's different types of breast cancer, and triple negative is one of the worst. So, as far as the silent auction, the raffles, those proceeds will go to the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation.
That's great. And I think it's very important to be involved in charities, and whatever you do, you should always be giving back somehow. Yes. I think some people miss that point. Honestly, I feel like I'm here to serve. I'm here to do as much as I can for others and, just continue to live my legacy. And so tell me about this award ceremony. What does that look like, and how does one get an award with being part of your organization?
So I have to say that's the most difficult part of the business, because when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of women, you're talking 10,000 plus, how do you choose who gets an award? You want to give one to everyone.
Yeah.
But we just can't, you know. I mean, we award people in different ways in the magazine, but actual handing a physical award to somebody. We have a team of, I'd say we're about 15 people,
Okay.
and we try to narrow it down, different categories. This year we're doing uh, uh, healthcare, radiology. We chose again, you know, for breast cancer awareness. We have a top chef. We have a Rising Star Award,
Cool.
uh, or a Mentor of the Year Award. So just to name a few. So you try to select certain categories and certain people that you think, you know,
That's awesome.
deserve. And we come together as a team.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so your organization is spread across I can't speak, spread across the nation.
Yes, we have members from all over. So I have members flying in from California, Vegas, someone from Idaho. So yeah, people are flying in from all over.
Very cool. Well, I might have to join you from Chicago, so I'll represent the
What?
Midwest. You actually have some questions here, which I think I already asked you a couple of them, but I like this one here. What advice would you give the women who want to start their own business?
You know, first of all, you really have to decide if you want to. You know, saying it and doing it are two different things. And I hear people all the time, oh, I want to start my own business. It's so much easier, you know, coming and going and doing what you want when you want. It's not necessarily true. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
But when you want to start your own business, A, do you really want to start your own business?
Right.
B, do you really want to start that business that you're thinking about? Okay, those are two different things. Are
Right.
you passionate about what you want to do? You have to also know that sometimes you're not going to see a dollar for it could be 3 to 5 years. So you can go a long time without seeing any money. And you have to understand that. People think, oh, I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to make millions. It's not the case. You could be one of the lucky ones, but for the most part, it's not the case. You have to be so passionate about what you're doing, and just realize that there's going to be ups and downs. But at the end of the day, if you want it, if you set a goal, you
Yeah.
can achieve anything that you want and go for it.
Yeah. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and my late husband and I had 5 businesses. Before I met him, I had some of my own businesses. And you actually work, and and after he passed, I had a couple more.
Yeah,
And now I have the podcast, which I treat as a business as well, you know. And when you work for yourself, you actually work more than you would a normal job. Like I said, I got back into the corporate world and did the 9 to 5, after my husband passed and almost lost everything. And yeah, that's great to have that security. And I just realized now at this point in my life that I really like my freedom. And I
mm,
have a really hard time with like the whole corporate agenda. Like I'm not cut out to that way. And I also feel like even if you, as a female, as a woman, as a person, let's just call it like as just an individual,
right.
whatever dreams or desires or goals that I've ever wanted in my life, I've always decided to take that risk and go after them, because without taking that risk, you never know.
You never know.
And so I didn't go to school for fashion, but I did get in. I wanted to be a designer. Like, woohoo, I
Mm,
love fashion. I love clothes. I love style. So like that was my lifelong dream. And after I got over and I got myself together after losing my husband, I I, I
sorry.
decided to pull the trigger and jump into fashion design and started a label. And I worked my butt off. I designed some really great clothes, but the margins are very small. People are very finicky about their clothing, and
Mhm.
it's a very competitive market to get into. And I told myself I'm going to do 3 collections, and if it doesn't take off by the third collection, then I'm just going to be done. You
Yeah.
have to you can only invest so much into something before it's just like it just becomes stupid. So I don't consider that a failure. Did it hurt a little bit? My ego, yeah. Did I spend a lot of money? Yeah, but I did create a great name for myself. I learned a lot about branding. I
Mhm.
mean, I learned what I'm capable of, but I decided it's much better for me just to buy something that I like from other designers and then style it the way I want, and I can just be like, whatever this persona that I've created. But I'm glad that I had the experience. I actually was on the runway with Style Week out in Rhode Island.
Wow, wow. Well, you're beautiful. I mean,
Oh,
look at those eyes, that hair. I mean, you're gorgeous. You're stunning.
thank you
So
very
you
much.
have that designer look.
Woo, all right, I'll take it. Thank you, girl. But you're gorgeous too. I told you that from the beginning. So I really encourage women to, I would encourage anyone, but because this is women empowerment, I really encourage, if you have a dream or you have this desire, I say go after it, but do it in a responsible way. Even though I started my label, I was still working my job. Actually, I was working like 3 or 4 jobs because I went from this grandiose lifestyle. My late husband and I lived in a mansion. We flew private. We had all this stuff, and I lost almost everything. And so like I had to work my ass off to recover from that. But I also like, you know what? I'm determined. I want to do this, now or never, right? Pull the trigger, let's go. And so I did it. And it was a great experience.
Good for you. Yeah, people talk about failure. I've had people say to me, "There's no such thing as failure." Well, I say it, the word wouldn't be in the dictionary if there was no such thing as failure. You can try something, you could fail at something, but it's a lesson. So I guess you really didn't fail because you learned from it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like the word failure is so difficult. But it's just you have to try. And if it doesn't work out, we'll say, then you move on, you learned from it, and you're a better person from it.
Oh, for sure. And so, for me, even though that didn't work, and who knows, maybe I'll go back and maybe I won't go so hard the next time around if I design like maybe 1 or 2 pieces instead of 30, which was just crazy.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about branding.
Mhm.
I've learned that, instead of hiring someone to do everything for you, do your research and figure out how to do it the most cost effective way possible, because you can always cut out, cut out all the middlemen and go straight to the resource, and I
Right.
think that was something I learned as well. And, especially branding is so important these days with social media. And I think that was a great step in the direction of having my podcast now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you guys teach your women, your ladies, about branding? And because I think I would think that goes hand in hand with what you guys do.
Yeah. We do. I have to tell you, I am the worst when it comes to social media. You have to have you have to have time for that.
Yeah,
And if, like you said, if you can cut out the middleman and you want to do that, great. But if you don't have time, then I feel you really have to hire somebody that knows what they're doing. When in the beginning, when I started this business, I still pick up a book and read it. Okay. I'm kind of old fashioned. And of course, because of the business that I'm in, you have to move with the times. But when I started the business, I'm like, oh, we don't need a website. We don't, this is 15 years ago. We don't need social media. No, I've never done that before. Well, let me tell you, you do, because everybody wants to see how many likes you have, how many followers, and if you don't have enough, they look at you like you're not good enough. And that's wrong too.
it is.
I mean, people are who they are. They can try very hard and maybe they're just not good at that aspect of the business.
Sure,
And then
sure.
you learn and either you do it yourself or you hire somebody to do it for you.
Yeah. No, I
But
totally
we
agree.
have somebody that does that.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's kind of like a side thing that I do in addition to my podcast. I actually manage social media pages for a couple law firms that I work for them
Uh-huh.
independently, and I do all their social media because I know that it's so important. And I took a class about a year or so ago. It was about 2 years ago about like how to monetize and grow your social media. It was a 10-week course, and it was really intense. And it taught like all the different platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook,
Mhm.
TikTok, and I think they even did Twitch. I didn't really get into the Twitch because I wasn't going to do that,
Yeah.
but and it's just the world that we live in. It's not going anywhere. It's growing, and
Yeah.
if you know how to do it yourself, it's free marketing. It
Yeah.
it's free marketing. So, like yourself, I'm sure you hire someone to do that for you, but it's a great tool if you learn how to use it correctly. And it's trial and error. You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta try a lot of different things. And what I tell my client that I have now, I'm just like, you gotta think of it like this. think about how the media, how they just constantly came at people with everything with COVID, right? Constant,
Mhm.
boom, boom, boom. It's a little bit like, excuse me, but it's a little bit like brainwashing.
Yeah,
Same thing with social media. You got to be constantly in your demographic's face, constant, 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 because you don't know what post or what thing is going to hook your next client. You know
right.
what I mean? But
True. So true. But it's time consuming. And
it,
if you're running a business, it's like, how do you do it all? How do you have enough time? And that's one of the problems I hear from women, balancing it all. How do you find time to do it all? Work, family, friends, time for yourself. It's a lot.
yeah, it is a lot. It is a lot. But if you want it bad enough, you will make it work until you can afford to hire that person to do it for you.
That's right.
Well, before we start wrapping things up, I want you to plug all your links. Where can people find you? I know you mentioned it earlier in our conversation, but can you please go
Yeah.
ahead and mention it?
Yeah, the easiest is P.O.W.E.R, so P.O.W.E.R and then WOE.com. And right at our website, all our social media links, Facebook, which is Power Woe. Instagram is power_woe, but you'll see all the links up top. You can also go to Tonia DeCosimo.com, ToniaDecosimo.com. But if you want to join Power, go to the Power website and just look around and feel free to call me and, we'll help you out in any way that we can.
I'll
Yeah,
be
but
signing up. I'm going to do the free membership right now because I'm still kind of a starving artist at this point. But
I will help you out. We'll
yeah.
help you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
Because I'm sure
And,
there's plenty of things you can help me with social media.
oh, for sure. I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to. And you also have a podcast. Can you mention that really quick? Can you tell us the audience about that?
Yes, it's Power Talk Radio, and I interview women just like yourself. Yesterday I interviewed, oh, so exciting, Martha Wash. I don't know if you were a disco queen back in the day, but her hit songs were "Gonna Make You Sweat"
Oh,
and
yeah.
"Everybody Dance Now,"
Oh,
and I loved her. And I was able to interview her yesterday. I've interviewed Susan Lucci, Robin McGraw, um, uh, Heather Dubrow, just so many amazing women. And it's a lot of fun. It's a
yeah.
lot of fun, as I'm sure you learn from everybody you interview. So it's great.
And it's very fulfilling. Like, it's great having these conversations that I just feel so like, even if I'm having like a kind of a low day and I need to get my energy up at the end of the conversation, I'm just like, woohoo! Like, that was great. All right, very cool. So I'll put all the links in the description of the episode. Tonia, any last words of wisdom or advice you'd like to leave for specifically our female audience
Yeah.
before we wrap things up?
I just want to say, be true to who you are. Be true to yourself. Never give up. If there's something you're passionate about, go for it. And, it's nice to get advice from other people, but at the end of the day, you have to listen to your inner self. You have to listen to your gut and go with that because it'll never fail you.
I love it. Yes. Thank you so much for being a guest. You're awesome. I'm going to be making a lot of introductions for you. I mean, I've got like 5 people so far on this list. I have more, but you are awesome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Kemple with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, follow, all that good stuff. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.